Bharath. Welcome to the launch of my 3 books, Devas, Travers, and Prana and Birth. I'm so happy to welcome all of you, family and friends today. So I'm very proud and happy to have a senior member of our family, Mr. Balram, on the show with us. He has retired from a very challenging corporate job, and he is very much into music and art. He has been a source of encouragement to me. Thank you so much, Balram Anna. And he has even inaugurated many Carnatic music kacheris. So I'm very flattered that he has flattering things to say about me. Mr. Balram.
No, most happy to join this, Gita. I'm impressed by your creativity, ability to express very complex thoughts in very simple words, and your imagination. I keep getting astounded every time you write a new poetry.
Thank you, Anna. So, that was Mr. Balram. He's a senior member of our family.
Gita Bharath is a born poet. She finds poetry in everything that she comes across in life and every experience that she's faced with. Her richness of imagination and facility of expression both fascinate me, with the result that her poetry is so interesting to read, like so many stories, small stories, tidbits, and she has an unusual angle in looking at everything that one comes across in life, with the result that she gives you a new lens to look at life's events. Thank you, Gita Bharath. May your service to humanity in the field of poetry continue.
This is Lalita Venkatesh. She has always been deeply appreciative of my poetry, and she has even used bits of it to illustrate points in her English class in middle school. So I have a feeling that I am connecting even with the younger minds through her. Over to you, Lalita.
A very good evening to all of you. I believe poetry is worship, an appreciation, a form of reverence to all things beautiful around us. But what sets Gita Akka, as I call her poems apart, is that she sees beauty in the most mundane everyday things, the most accepted or taken for granted phenomena of nature, and she turns it into an excellent work of art. Her 3 books of poetry that are being released today, Travers, Devas, Prana and Verse, contain poems on entirely different contexts. Yet if I were in class showing these books to my students, I'll probably tell them to bring out a value connecting the 3. We will then learn that our journey these past few months, as laid out in Travers, hasn't been easy, but like the other beings, adapt themselves to the changing environment, as written in Prana. We humans have had to adapt to the challenging times. And by example of the life of the Devas, we learn to do things keeping in mind the greater good, and we do put our best foot forward. I not only enjoy reading through these poems, I'm not completely done, I might add. I'm learning so much and gaining so much insight into many, many things. I'm only very happy that not only our family gets to read these poems, but now it is available to anybody who wants to enjoy them. Akka, I have always loved your style. It is honest and from the heart. So all that I would like to say to conclude today is, keep writing, keep expressing your thoughts and touching our souls. Thank you.
Thank you, Lalit. That was a beautiful tribute. We come to Sridhar. Sridhar was a very noted trekker and a tennis player, and he can still be found on the court when he is not working hard at his data management, finance, or whatever he calls it. I am a total ignoramus. So He always encourages me with his appreciation of my animal poems, animal-based ones, and he eggs me on to create more of these types of poems. Over to Sridhar.
I've been reading Gita's poetry for a while now, typically when she posts them on Facebook. And every time I've been struck by the way they trigger a connection in me to an experience I have had or a feeling I have experienced. This poem in particular takes me back to my trek through the Spiti Valley in the Himachal, where we met a shepherd, his goats, his family, including his mother-in-law with whom my friend danced around the fire, and his cat. Catacult. A yogi en route to the Himalayan heights stopped at a hamlet for a night, and though he stayed but a few hours, the village welcomed him with fruit and flowers. And since the village was plagued with rats, they gave him as Mauser a large grey cat, and he spoke to them of life and death, taught them pranayama, control of one's breath. After he had left, they practiced what he had taught, and found in yoga the good health they had sought. Soon legend grew around him, and they erected a shrine, made him a great guru, almost divine. Somehow the grey cat also grew great. They said it was a mascot, a talisman against fate. And the force of this superstition became so strong that they left off yoga and worshipped the cat. And that is Gita's poetry.
Thank you. Thank you, Sridhar. This is Sambhavi. Sambhavi and I are crossword addicts. She is a very strong person with very definite views on a number of subjects. She's very forthright with her opinions as well. So when she says she values my work, I think I am really flattered by that. And her appreciation means a lot to me. There you go, Sambhavi.
Hello, my name is Sambhavi Lakshmi Narayanan, and I've known Gita for many years. For most of the time, my impression of her had been that of a soft-spoken, gracious, yet strong woman, whose actions spoke bigger than her words. Now I know that her written words are the ones speaking loud and proud. Her first book, Swara, burst into my consciousness like a beacon, with her incisive yet sensitive and tender narratives about children, parents, places, the world. Gita showed me that even as we live our lives, facing painful challenges or relaxing in joyful celebrations, we are changed in ways we might not expect. In this new literary triptych, Devas, Traverse, and Prana in verse, I love the title, she steps out in different directions, reimagining stories from Hindu mythology in refreshingly new ways, sharing her passion for all living creatures, and a poignant commentary on how COVID has made us view our lives differently. Poetry can do what prose cannot, say something without saying everything. What is unsaid is as powerful as what is said. Gita's poems are filled with the sense of foreground and background, the obvious and the hidden. What is seemingly simple has layers of complexity. What appears ugly or painful covers beauty. What shines through Gita's poems is that more than experiencing, she has absorbed her life and been absorbed in it. Reading her poems makes us appreciative of things big and small that happen to us and with us. Her poems give us hope and comfort, laughter and tears, and a feeling of gratitude for the wonder around us. If nothing else, be inspired by Gita's poems to look at your life differently, to say things you had hesitated to say, to feel what you thought you ought not, to relate to those in your life in a slightly different way, and to pick up a pen or keyboard and perhaps write a poem.
Thank you, Sambhavi. Now we come to the catalyst in my life. I should know because I have a degree in chemistry, and he is the catalyst who moved all my bits of paper with verses scribbled on them, which were languishing in many desks, and he pushed them into his laptop, and from there they have seeped into these beautiful books. So there is Bharath.
Hi, this is Bharath. First, a frank statement from me. I am not a poetically inclined person, and I am not going to talk about Gita's poems. There are others who are far more qualified to do so. Gita and I got married in 1977. Prior to my marriage, my reading was limited to newspapers and fiction besides technical books. Gita introduced me to Arthur Clarke and Isaac Asimov for science fiction, and slowly I got inducted into poetry too. She has been writing out of passion. Sometime in mid-90s, I decided to preserve them in computer and fed them to a desktop computer at home. Due to change of several computers over the years, many of these were lost. But I always nurtured an idea to publish them at some point in time. For the last 4 to 5 years, Gita has been posting her poems in blogs. The joke in the family is I go around with thumbs up sign, always ready to post a thumbs up before anybody else does. Anyway, about 3 years back, I transferred all these to a Word document. Fortunately, Gita knew Sumita Datta of Adisakrit, and Sumita was instrumental in introducing Gita to Chennai Poetry Circle and India Poetry Circle. Gita's first book, Swara, was launched on the India Poetry Circle annual day on 10th August 2019. From the time coronavirus lockdown started in late March in India, Gita's productivity has been incredibly high, churning out a poem almost every day. The rest, as the cliche goes, is history. And now we have 3 more books on our hands. All the best, Gita.
This is a poem from Prana in verse, Game Elephant, choreographed by Gita.
I just wanted to acknowledge Bharath and assure him it's not cupboard love. I love you, Bharath. So, yeah, please go ahead.
So this Game Elephant, a poem from Prana in verse, choreographed by Gita's niece. This is one of her students performing.
In the wood, one sunny day, baby animals came to play. They were happy and jubilant, all except the elephant. Against him, the animals brought the charge that for their games, he was too large. You can't roll in the mud or wrestle, said the pig. You would never sit in the mud, you're too big. Can you ever swing from the trees? Chattered a group of chimpanzees. You can't hide in a cave or jump over rocks, said the playful pups of the red-tailed fox. Can you hide behind the grass and quietly sit? Asked the long-eared jackrabbit. Which is your front and which is your rear? You two-tailed. Laughed the cheetah's deer. The lion cub said, You are a big boar. You can't creep upon me or bounce or roar. You can't run or jump or jog, said the frog and the warthog. Sadly, the elephant walked to the pool. Sprayed water on himself to keep himself cool. Wow, said the animal. He was sweating in the sun. 10 sprays with water? That looks like fun. They crowded around him and said, Please join us and we will never tease you. So behind his huge legs, they would hide. Use his trunk as a water slide. He would join in their games every day. Together they'd laugh and run and play. For now, the forest animals had found that the elephant was their playmate as well as their playground.
Yeah, I would like to, of course, thank Sumita, who has put together these beautiful books from a mass of writings which I sent her, who have formatted and edited, gone through 3 rounds of editing with me. That was an awesome job, and thank you, Sumita. And I want to acknowledge Mahesh's photography. He's a phenomenal photographer. So that really brings out the words in a beautiful way, beautiful way. Can I call on Vivek to speak?
Oh, hello, everyone.
My son, Vivek Bharathan, founder and chief engineer at Presto.
And a bunch of other inflated titles, I'm sure. But one of the few silver linings of the pandemic is the fact that it allows people who are separated by a by the Atlantic Ocean to join and participate in a launch like this. I have known Gita all my life, right? So, and I can say for sure that sometimes I have to scramble to keep up with the sheer volume of poetry that she produces. And we as kids, we used to take it for granted, right? Like we would come back from school every evening and there would be a couple of poems that would pique our interest, and that was normal for us. As I grew, I realized that it wasn't that is not that what we used to take for granted is actually not very normal. And sad to say, my sister and we do not have the poetry gene in us, but they do say that art sometimes skips a generation. So I am very hopeful for my daughter and for my niece. Way to go, Mom. So proud of you.
Thank you. Thanks, Vivek. Is Priya there? Hi, Priya.
Hi, Amma. Congratulations.
He's Chief of Staff at Google. Yes. Please go ahead, Priya.
Hi, Amma. Vivek was talking about how he had the pleasure to come back home to poems from Amma. I am not poetically inclined at all, and so I have a lot of respect, and I'm amazed when somebody is able to put things, especially words, into art form. As you can see, I'm already struggling with words even to speak. So congratulations, Amma. It's amazing with everything else that you do that this is another accomplishment and a feather in your cap.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Priya. Can I call on our resident photographer genius, Mahesh?
Thank you so much, Gita, for giving me the opportunity to showcase my work through your work. Technically, my work will not be existing if your work was not existing. So, I think I'm what I do is just an outcome of what you do. So, thank you so much, and I hope you write more so that I can click more and publish more.
Thank you. How about Shakti? Oh, sorry, Mahesh works with Panda Corp. He is an MBA in the corporate world, and so is Shakti. Shakti is a director at, Charge. Sorry. Yeah, please go ahead, Shakti.
Sad, Gita, you forgot the name of your daughter's company.
Thank you, Mom. We all know who the favorite kid is now. Like Vivek said, growing up, I think there were times when we had to publish or we had to write some poem for school and get it published in the school magazine, and we were always ready, or rather we were always at the last minute ready, because at Sunday night at 10 o'clock we'll tell Amma, hey, I need a poem on XYZ, very specific topic, very specific requirement that in the next 20 minutes she has to come up with, and she never failed us. And I think I'm so glad to see the four books out. We've been wanting to publish the books. Thank you, Sumita, for helping us with this. And I'm so proud of you, Mom.
Thank you so much. I could not have done it without the support of family and friends. So I think all this is really your wishes, the reflection of what you have put into that has come out as poetry. So can I ask Arun to talk? Arun is my nephew. He founded, hello Arun? No, he's not there, I think. Dharni? Okay, Archana. Archana wanted to be the first to buy my books. She was the first in Odyssey last year to buy my book Swara. And, being a judge of karate competitions, she's a karate champion herself and she teaches Zumba. So nobody dared to get in her way when she made her way to the front of the counter. She was the first one to pick up the book, and she wants to pick up these books as well. Archana?
Yes, I'm here, Chitti.
Okay, go ahead. Floor is yours.
So, yeah, hello, everybody. Let Actually, it was a surprise that I'm actually going to be on. Yeah. Chiti, it's not just because of my karate. It's also because I'm a big fan of your writing. I always have this backlog in my brain that when poets write, very large poetry, I always need a dictionary to understand what they are trying to say. And I've always shied away from reading. But it has been a complete turnaround with your poetry, because I always look forward to reading your poems because they are very, very simple to understand. And it's pretty beautiful to imagine simple things in your words. So thank you so much for all these books. Yes, I was very adamant in getting the first copy for the first release, and I am ever so adamant in I'm going to be the same thing for every release that you're going to be doing in future. Also, I would definitely want to be the first. Thank you so much, and please keep the poems and the stories coming.
Thank you. Thanks. And can I call on Sumati? Sumati was my colleague in Indian Bank, and she was always the first to comment on my postings in Facebook. Sumati? Oh, I think she's left. Karthik? Is Karthik there?
Yeah, I'm here. Hi.
Okay. Hi. Go ahead. The floor
That
is
was a
yours.
surprise, and I could hear my favorite mama prompt my name from the back also. So look, I just wanted to say, amazing Gita Mani, awesome, right? I mean, I feel so proud every time that I see what you do, which is very unique for us, for our family. For me, when I think about Gita Mani, she's the Google of our family. And so, it's what I see in her poems are two very important.
Oh, he's faded.
I see the beauty of her humanity, which I think is unbelievable. Hey, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Gita Mani, can you hear me? Yeah. No, I was just saying that to me, when I think about your poems, I'm reminded of two things. One is how beautiful of a human being you are. This is unbelievable for me. The beauty of your humanity comes through. And the second thing for me is the vast pool of knowledge you have, which is mind-boggling for me. In today's time, hey, can you hear me? Can you hear me or no?
Yeah. You're audible. Go ahead, Karthik.
Okay. Yeah, in today's time, there is no problem for us to get the knowledge that we need. There's enough access to the internet and everything. Back in those days, when you had to go to the library, I was always shocked by how much you knew. And that to me will always remain with me, and I see that being channeled in your poems as well. So that's amazing. And also, by the way, thank you for instilling crossword mania in me. It's passed on to my kids as well.
Thank you.
So thank you so much, Gita Mani.
Thank you. I see Sumati is on. Sumati, would you like to say a few words?
Okay. Thank you, Gita, for inviting me to talk. I've known Gita only as a banker. After she retired, I think she took up full-time writing poetries, and then only I realized she had the other side to her. So at office, of course, I always used to wonder how she used to pick out the page of crossword and do it during lunchtime, while I used to take out the Sudoku portion of it and do my own Sudoku. So we were total contrast at that time also. Probably we are still contrast now too. You're an amazing lady. I never know how to write, how to read, rather properly in English, but I think your poems have inspired me so much that I've slowly started getting into a lot more reading other than just fiction, and trying to understand a lot more things. And but I must say, I still use a dictionary when I read your poems. I'm still at that level. Thank you so much, Gita. Way to go. Keep publishing and keep inviting me to join you.
Thank you.
Gita Mani, I understand Deepa Madhavan may want to say a few words also.
Sure. Go ahead, Deepa.
Thank you. Again, I was put in a spot. I was just, I love poetry, and I have to admit, I haven't read Gita Mani's all her poetry, but the little I have read, they're very moving, and I want to. I'm like totally trying to see if there is a way by which we can collaborate and try to see if we can bring, if I can have the privilege and honor of trying to see if I can embody the kind of amazing thought process that you have in whatever
Deepa has a
ways.
doctorate in dance, and she does wonderful choreography, and she runs a dance school as well.
Yeah, but yeah, so I'm right now reading some of Sangam poetry and stuff. So I think I'm gonna ping you to see if we can work together, because I think this is such a lovely space that is unexplored within the family. So thank you so much, Gita Mani. Like how Karthik says, your humanity comes through in all these poems and such insight, and you've always been so such a, anything I talk about, even from my dance space, which could be very niche in some particular, you always have something to say, very valuable, and like Karthik says, it comes through in your poetry. So I really am looking forward to the opportunity of exploring this with you through my body, hopefully in the future sometime. Thank you so much.
Sure. Future collaborator. Thank you.
Yes.
Mr. Mahalingam?
Yeah. First of all, good evening to all of you. I am Mr. Bharathan's friend, classmate, and all in all for almost last 55 years, I should say. Our association started in school, then pre-university, then College of Engineering, Guindy. Then after that, we have been off and on in touch. And now the association has got again resumed. And about today's launch, yes, it's a fantastic work. And as many people were telling, we find very difficult to start writing. Many of us can speak, give a talk, but when you ask them to write, the pen does not move beyond 2 lines. And I myself experienced when I was quite young. But I don't know. She must be a great imaginative lady to really imagine these things and then pen down them in form of poems, and that too 4 books. It is a commendable achievement. And I got a food for thought for Gita. Have you ever attempted writing poems in Tamil? I guess Tamil must be your mother tongue. And
I was brought up in Jamshedpur. In those days, there was absolutely no access. So I
see.
Molly, you touched a raw nerve. You touched a raw nerve, I said.
No, I really want to get into Tamil as well as Sanskrit, but yeah, I should.
No, that's definitely okay. And I don't know, maybe then my suggestion passes on to Mr. Bharathan, who of course cannot say he didn't have a knowledge of Tamil, because I know him very well. And maybe you should attempt, because what starts as an imagination in one mind gets a form to be seen by so many others in the form of language. English is one very versatile medium, like many other foreign media which are there, including many foreign languages. And I always believe, yes, your ideas get best expressed in mother tongue. But as Gita said, her knowledge of writing poetry in Tamil is limited because of the limited exposure to mother tongue. But that's what I pass it on to maybe Bharathan and her daughter and son. It can be a collaborative effort of bringing out something, and I would be the first person to buy those things. Already your Swara is there with me. I have been reading, and these books also I should buy as soon as they're available. And all of us get 24 hours per day, and we do our mundane work. But how some people can really steal time to do their things which they feel highly passionate about, like writing poetry for Gita. And it's a godsend gift. Some people always say, I don't have time. And whereas others can really time share and do wonderful things in addition to doing what all we do within the same 24 hours. In that way, I only pray that God gives her much more energy, zeal, and enthusiasm to continue this work so that we all get enthused by reading her poems. Good luck to you, Gita, and thanks, Bharat, for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you, sir.
Gita, just 1 minute.
Mr. Bharathan, can I make a quick point? Mr. Bharathan, can I make a quick point? I actually would second Mr. Mahalingham's recommendation. Maybe you should work with your niece Lalita, who I've heard is an expert in Sangam poetry. She could actually help with the collaboration.
Let me just say a couple of words about Mali, as we call him. After graduation, of course, he joined Defense Research and did his PG from IIT Kanpur and doctorate, I think, from CMU.
It's not doctorate, but it is some sort of advanced course.
Okay,
and then
Carnegie Mellon. Retired as director of Center for Artificial Intelligence in
robotics.
In robotics, CA, from Defense Department. Thanks, Molly, for joining, and thanks for giving a very encouraging words, but not at the same time.
Yes,
I don't
thank you so much. I see that Sharanya is with us. Sharanya Francis from Bangalore. So she runs the Bangalore Poetry Circle. Can I call on her to say a few words, Sharanya? I see another ex-colleague of mine, Gulnar Rahim Khan. Okay.
I want to quickly, Gita, if I can, I just want to quickly jump in and say, can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead. But
I just want to
go ahead.
I just want to quickly jump in and say congratulations, and I'm wishing you a lot more books in the pipeline. I know that the past few years, whenever I come to India in the summer, there's like piles and piles of paper floating around your apartment, and you were trying to bring some order to it, like even up to 3 years ago. And now it's all coming together, and good luck. And I hope you have, a lot more book launches coming up soon.
Yeah. When Paddy started her PhD, she was working on fruit flies. Maybe all that rubbed off on me because it was very interesting and something to do with the heart muscle. I know she used to tell us all about it. It went right over my head. So thank you, Paddy, for inspiring me to write about at least the smaller organisms, which I can see. Yeah.
Good luck.
And Gita Shri, this is Arun here.
Ah, great. I called you.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, Archana told me. I just stepped out for a minute. So I think I heard everybody else talk about you. I echo all their feelings, sentiments. I will not repeat them. I just want to say a couple of things. So Gita Chitti, she's my aunt. I've known her from when I was 7 years old. She was my English teacher in school. So that gave me a special respect for her, and also many times I would be in any early days I would be very scared to speak up in front of her because she was my English teacher. And congratulations on your second innings now that you left your career as a banker. I only wish you had started this earlier, but all the best.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I see a lot of people from the IPC, and I'm so glad that all of you were able to make it to this meeting. I'm really very thankful to you, and I'm really encouraged by the amount of love and affection that I have had from IPC and its members, and of course from my family and friends. Sumita, would you like to give a vote of thanks?
It's been my pleasure to publish Gita's first book, Swara, and subsequently these 3 books, Devas, Prana, and Traverse. And the whole experience has been very enriching. I thank all of you for coming here and encouraging Gita, and I hope you will keep on encouraging her. I wish that she goes from strength to strength. Thank you all so much for coming here. There's about 1 minute more left. If anybody else...
Can I ask Venkatesh, my brother, to speak? I didn't see him earlier. Venkatesh, are you there?
Hi, Akka. Hi. Hey,
Hi.
really
Go
nice
ahead.
to hear all these poems. I just wanted to say that the ones that really connected deeply to me were the ones on the Devas, because a lot of them, I think almost all of them, are poems with kind of a Vedantic import, kind of Upanishadic, and it kind of lifts your mind to a different level of inspiration. So wonderful work. Congratulations and all the best.
Thank you. So thank you, everybody. I think we have less than a minute left, and this will probably wind down any moment now. I thank all of you, and I'm so grateful for your support and encouragement. Thank you so much.
Hi, I'm Jairam Seshadri, and I'd like to read 3 poems of Gita Bharath, one from each of her books that have been launched today. It's an honor for me to do so. I thought it would be the best tribute to her 3 books because the forewords of each of the 3 books, or the write-ups about them, have been so good and comprehensive that I thought this would be the next best thing for me to do. The first poem I'm going to read is from her book Prana, and the poem is titled Giraffa Camelopardalis. Has a lot of information that I did not know about, which has been versified. So, Giraffa camelopardalis. Tell me, giraffe, if you will, is that tongue or a tentacle? 2 feet long, it twists and twirls as around the leaves and twigs it curls. Foraging all day in the African sun, your tongue cannot afford to redden and burn. That's why it's black, also very thick, so that the acacia thorns don't prick, and even if they do, they cannot fall sick, because your saliva is antiseptic. The tallest of all mammals by far, your blood pressure is the highest by far. Astronauts regulate blood flow, applying inner engineering that you already know. Your muscled legs kick so hard that predators are killed or just laid out flat. You are so marvelous that it's truly frightening that most giraffes in the open are killed by lightning. The Krishna Enigma by Gita Bharath from her book Devas. A threat to the king, a baby exiled, a naughty, laughing, charming child. Darling despair of the dairy maids, stealing butter, pulling braids. Cowherd and tribal chief he was. How did it suddenly come to pass that with no weapons, training, support, he vanquished the cruel king in his court? Krishna then set his grandsire on the throne, but this was the least of his claims to renown. He could mold his kinsman's thought with elan, intricate his strategy, elaborate his plans. A mighty warrior who took no part in the war, poet and philosopher, the Krishna avatar, multifaceted genius, this herder of cattle. As Arjuna's charioteer, he turned the tide of battle. Was he a composite dreamt up by sages? An amalgam of heroes they'd known through the ages? Or was he an emissary, part of God's plan to inspire and enthuse decadent man? Godhead by Gita Bharath, from her book Devas. My first question to God was, "What are you?" And she replied, "I power each act, everything you do. I am the energy in every cell. I energize the sound waves from the temple bell. From the far distant star, I am the cold, twinkling light. I fuse tiny atoms to make your sun shine bright." I then asked her, "Where are you?" She said, "I dwell in every celestial sphere, out in space, in the coldest nowhere, in earth and water, every atom of air. My essence pervades the everywhere." My final question to her was, "Who are you?" The ether fell silent. But echoes answered, "You, you, you."